A huge thank you for joining us again. It's lovely to see you. And I will introduce Mark to you in a minute, who is our partner in crime, our go-to partner in crime when it comes to anything cycling. He even got me cycling through the hills of the Chiltern. So if he can do that, I think he can do anything at all. I might even share some of that footage with you. So let me just do a uh, quick screen share. Wonderful, to fabulous picture of the English countryside. So yeah, it's cycling with a lot of love and thought attached to it, which is just wonderful. And the reason we partner with Mark, as with others we've introduced you to, is because he just knows his stuff. He's absolutely passionate about it. Every spare moment when he's not baking brownies, he is out cycling. And as I say, he even got me cycling through the Chiltern Hills. I think it was about September last year, something like that. So we're just going to share with you some of the options. Obviously, we have our gratuitous lots of images of the English countryside, because we love doing that. But this is by way of introduction. As you can see, Mark and friends doing a fabulous cycle ride. So, Mark, thank you so much for joining us. It is lovely to see you. It seems like a long time since I actually saw you in the flesh, but can you just share a little bit of how you got into cycling, why you love it so much, and so on?
Sure. Thank you, Sam. Thanks for that nice intro. Yes, I've always cycled really since a youngster, to and fro from school. As you know, always massively sporty. Golf is my profession, actually. That's what I've done for a living since I left school. But would mountain bike a lot, quite a lot in the States, actually, because I have a brother who lives out in the US, in Colorado, and now in Arizona. So I managed to ride those trails, which are fantastic. And then, yeah, got into road cycling, and obviously very competitive. Like to think knowledgeable with the routes and people's passions. But yeah, I just love it. I can't get enough. It just totally clears my mind. Obviously, it's healthy, fresh air. Helps me sleep well, and I eat well as well. hence your comment on the chocolate brownies.
Baking brownies, absolutely. And we were talking a bit earlier about the incredible rise in interest in cycling and cyclists on the road since the start of all of this bizarre life that we've been living over the last few months. I think anybody who has set foot outside the door, certainly around this area, I mean, the number of cyclists is huge. And you said there's been a 200% rise in cycling. Now, from the
Correct.
friends that I know, there's a real mixture between good old pedal power and a good mountain bike or road bike. But quite a few of them have delved into electric bikes, haven't they?
Yes, it is. It's going to expand, if not, it hasn't already, massively. Certainly on the continent, in sort of the Netherlands, places like that, and they're huge cyclists anyway. So with the help of the assisted e-bikes has been massive, and I think it's going to take off here. Yeah, it just means that someone of a lesser level could keep up with someone who's very fit. As you experience yourself, I think around the Chiltern certainly isn't flat, and it was a great help.
Oh, it was fantastic. I looked like a professional cycling up hills without even losing my breath. It was amazing. No, I'm a huge fan. And it, as you say, the nice thing is it enables mixed groups in terms of ability to go out and enjoy a bike ride together,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
absolutely. And they come, if you're used to riding a hybrid, you can get e-bikes in hybrids. If you're used to mountain biking, there's e-bikes in mountain bikes. And if you're road bike, there's e-bikes in those as well. And the up-to-date ones now, you can actually, a friend of mine actually has bought one about 6 weeks ago. And he was in one of the original footage actually. You can switch it off basically. So if you want to ride normal, you can switch it off. And then as soon as, if you want a bit of help, you can put it onto level 1 to 5, you know, if you're going up a steep incline. So yeah, amazing. And you wouldn't know, you wouldn't know looking at some of the modern ones now that there's a power unit battery in there.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Mm.
And the great thing is that Mark will source the best bikes for your clients depending on their ability. So whether you ask them the questions or we ask the questions, we'll make sure that everybody has the bike that suits them to give them the perfect trip out. So the abilities, matching abilities is absolutely key, and enabling people to really enjoy it, whether it's a single day of their itinerary or whether it's longer. The whole point is for them to have a lovely time. And how can you tell us just a little bit, Mark, about how you sort of choose your routes? We're coming on to talk specifically about the Chilterns and the Cotswolds, but how do you sort of go about putting the routes together?
Sure. Well, from experience, really, just once I get the information on the level, or experience or age of the rider that I've got in front of me or dealing with, then I can tailor it quite easily. There are so many variations and options to ride around that I know every little lane that we'll go that way because it's you know, it's a gentle incline, or no, we'll give this one a go because it goes up to a church maybe, or a pub. And, you know, if you're on an e-bike, then yeah, that would work.
And what was the railway line, a route that you did in the Cotswolds?
Oh yeah, that was
Um,
a trip that just just went beautifully well. The weather for September's normally a pretty good month in the UK, isn't it? It's cooler mornings, lovely day, lovely couple from the US that when I first met them, you know, wonderfully polite, but I thought, wow, these are up in years, this couple, but you know, why not? I knew I'd got the e-bikes, had the route planned, and we set off, you know, just made sure they were happy, and off we went, country lanes, almost like the one on the screen, really. And then we were probably half an hour away from our lunch stop, I think, and just happened to go over this little single track road, railway bridge, and lo and behold, I had the toot of a steam train, which I called in obviously half an hour before to the driver to arrange the toot of the horn. And yeah, they nearly fell off their bikes. You know, it was just brilliant that the steam train came along. Obviously the steam, it was an old style steam train, and we stopped, took some pictures, some selfies, and the train, little video, and off we went. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Very.
And they fed back afterwards saying it was of a 13-day itinerary that we put together for them. It was one of the highlights of their trip. And I think with things like that steam train, if you were driving through the Cotswolds, you probably would have missed it. But the fact that you were sitting on bikes on top of the bridge was absolutely perfect. And it's a great way to immerse yourself in the countryside, isn't it?
Absolutely. Sorry, I was turning my...
And also we can happily arrange, if they start from their hotel, obviously doing a circuit route, they can end back at the hotel, or if they want to go to a particular place, we will just arrange obviously a car either to transport them to there in the morning so they end back up at the hotel, or the other way round. So it's all flexible, and Mark is pretty knowledgeable about the best places that serve the best chocolate brownies on the planet, but also the best place for a pub lunch. So you can guarantee they'll find a wonderful little pub garden to
That's
sit.
one of the reasons why I cycle, Sam, is because the pubs, the cafe stops, they're always have a great selection of cakes, and a traditional English pub lunch would be a
Yeah,
ploughman's, wouldn't it? A ploughman's
absolutely.
pint.
Yeah,
Or,
we're missing those at the moment, aren't we?
yes,
Certainly are.
yeah, we sure are.
So
Yeah.
just focusing specifically on the Chilterns. So just as a reminder, the Chilterns sort of covers the area from sort of northwest, about an hour northwest of London, and goes down the side of London, down to sort of Windsor Way and so on. So it's
Yeah,
within easy
Hilly
access.
High Wycombe and Princess Risborough, Tring, and then obviously incorporates Henley and the villages, Turville, Freeth, and all these country lanes. I think have there's a pub somewhere at the top or along them.
Mm.
Churches as well. Did we stop at that church, Sam, when we went? I'm not sure whether we did or not. It's on the opposite side of the Turville Heath Barn, and they
No,
do.
we didn't. No, we went to the Pistil Church.
Yes, yes, that they do the. There's like an honesty box, which is just typically British, but
Very British.
where the lady bakes homemade flapjacks in there, and there's a kettle, and you can literally, if you're a bit low on energy, you can just go in there, and it's absolutely one of my most favourite spots. Have a cup of tea and a flapjack for 50p.
It's glorious. She puts it out inside the just in the doorway of the church in this little village, and as Mark said, there's a kettle and there's cake and everything for a good cup of tea, and this little box where you can leave 50p or a pound or whatever you think your tea and flapjack is worth. It's just lovely. And Midsummer is all obviously around. Midsummer Murders that we talked about a couple of weeks ago is all around this area as well. And here is just, I'm showing this actually, this was a walk that my partner and I did a couple of weeks ago. And it's just an opportunity to share some more of the beautiful English countryside. But we did see a lot of cyclists that day, so there's that's the sort of thing they'll be seeing as well, which is just lovely. So, what about the Cotswolds, Mark? What's different, and what are
Um,
your favourites?
I'd probably say it's a bit more rolling, maybe not quite as steep terrain in the Cotswolds, and probably larger towns and villages. Maybe not quite so accessible off-road as the Chilterns, but typically, yeah, great villages, lovely rides, pubs the same, and yeah, stunning views. I'm not sure whether it's larger than the Chilterns or not, or about the same. Yeah, I'd have to.
Yeah, it's about the same. It's sort of a different shape, but the same as in the Chilterns, we could obviously start and finish the ride at the place of their choice, or whatever makes it easier. So it's just all beautifully flexible. That's the wonderful thing about doing a cycling tour. Now, this is maybe an idea for clients who are maybe a little fitter, or just love getting out and about on their bikes, to put together a 3-day tour incorporating some chosen villages, whether it's Bybury or Bybury and Burford, and going down into Cirencester and so on, all through the Hambledon Valley, a bit closer to home. They have the advantage of seeing everything close to hand. I mean, as Mark described, the lovely opportunity of seeing steam trains and things like that. But they start their day in their luxurious hotel, and they end their day in a luxurious hotel. If they'd like a spa just to relax those relax the muscles a bit, then obviously we'll make those choices for them. But it's obviously everything is managed, so their luggage is transferred from hotel to hotel, or they can just stay in one hotel. The choice is theirs. But it's exactly the sort of itinerary, Mark, that you just love getting stuck into, isn't it? Putting together something like this.
I don't know whether this is useful or not, but obviously in the Chilterns there's many country pubs that are linked with the Midsummer Murder Mystery, but also I can think of 4 off the top of my head vineyards that are kind of working vineyards, aren't they, on the Chiltern side and the Hambledon Valley side.
Yeah.
That just make great beer and obviously English sparkling wine as well, which is delicious.
That's a fabulous idea. Yes, a cycling vineyard tour.
Mm.
And actually, the brilliant thing is also they're quite close together, quite the ones I'm thinking of. So you wouldn't have to cycle too far. Maybe that's when an e-bike would come into its own, because a little later in the day you might need a bit of help. But yes, it's I mean that we can theme them around midsummer, around the vineyards, around old churches, whatever their interest is. It's all there to be designed, which
Are you
is
thinking of Luxters, are you? As you're thinking of, Sam? Is that one you're thinking of?
yep, absolutely. And then the Fairmile Vineyard just outside Henley as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
all
there's
sorts
also one up
of lovely things.
a very
Um,
small one up Forley as well. If you're in
oh,
Henley Marlow Road, there's one run by an Italian family, the Forley one, which is Oak and Grove. That's it.
oh yes, 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 absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
That's another good one. Um, so as we say, obviously it is entirely flexible. If your clients want to get out at 7 o'clock in the morning and get back at 7 o'clock at night, no problem. If they just want to do a couple of hours in the middle of the day, equally, that's absolutely fine. But either way, they'll have the bikes to suit their abilities and age and so on. And we'll certainly choose the right route to encompass whatever it is that they're interested in and what they'd like to see. So it really does vary dramatically, but obviously it's available across the country wherever they're staying. But it's such a lovely thing to incorporate into an overall itinerary, and we always do just get. I mean, this is very typical of the type of feedback that we get. So if clients ask for a quieter day, maybe they've done a few castles and palaces and they want to get out into the countryside, doing a cycling route like this, a cycling day like this is absolutely magical. And that apparently, Mark, was in Windsor Great Park, you were saying.
Yes, and obviously you can see plenty of cyclists going through. But yeah, the roads are lovely, very safe. Hardly any cars. If it is, it's one of the local forest commissioner workers that work in the park. And then this bit coming up, I don't know whether I did that or not, goes to the huge polo pitch
Yeah.
in the Great Park, which is beautiful. Obviously, yeah, you've got the lovely flowers and rhododendrons around and stuff in there as well. Mm.
Yeah, the rhododendrons are amazing this year. They really are. It's wonderful. So, as you know, there is lots more information on the website and the YouTube channel and so on. And we will happily answer any questions if any of you are keen to explore more about jumping on top of a bike and jumping on a bike and going off exploring, or if you want to email us, you know that we will happily answer. So is there anything that we can?
I would just interject and say about our weather, because last week we were in the high 20s, weren't we? Almost 80 degrees, and then this week's gone cooler again, albeit fairly dry, but we can get some squally showers come in where we'd probably need maybe a light waterproof jacket and some gloves, depending on if you feel the cold or not.
Yeah, that's a good point. We would share all of the clothes that are advisable and so on. So yeah, good point. Thanks, Mark. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed our little cycling tour of the English countryside, and we very much look forward to seeing you again on Wednesday. And I've had a complete momentary blank. Lisa, can you help me out, please?
Yeah, we're heading back up to Scotland for some more experiences and a big focus on all the castles and wonderful things you can go and do up there. So
Absolutely. So yes, thank
Wednesday,
you.
sorry. Yeah.
On Wednesday. Thank you, Todd. Much appreciated. Yes, so we were talking about the wonderful whiskey tasting and whiskey tours and so on, and now we'll be talking more about the country pursuits and the fabulous castles and things like that that you can stay in on Wednesday. So I hope we will see you then. Have a fabulous rest of the day, and thanks so much for joining us. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye. Lovely to meet you.
Thank you, Mark.